Okay, guys, it says that we're live. Welcome to, I guess this would be the second live show this month. The previous week, we did a live show on LPS corals, and that was more of like a trial run to see how that would go. We're kind of going to like a new format, and I was just kind of interested to see how that went. So we only did about 50 corals then. This is going to be an LPS specific live show. So we're going to try about 75 corals today, see how that goes. So let me know in chat if you can hear me, and I'm going to look at a couple of things to make sure that everything is working properly. We're broadcasting simultaneously to both YouTube and Facebook, so I need to check that out, make sure that's all situated here. Okay, cool. Johan M, thank you. So I need to pay attention to, again, like this is what makes this live show a little bit challenging. It's that I have to like look at chat in two different places. So I will kind of get my Facebook window here situated. And I will also bring up my YouTube chat so I can see you guys both at the same time. Wonderful. Okay. Is there anything else I need to do? Probably. I'm going to forget something. So, hi, Lisa Aquatics. Thank you. I'm so glad that I actually have a moderator today. There's like so many. I was like watching some other people's live streams, and yeah, it's getting to the point where moderation is very necessary because there's been a proliferation of trolls. Now, historically, I guess I used to have issues with trolls, but truth be told, I enjoy banning trolls more than trolls like, trolling me. So after a while, we just kind of like ran out of trolls. I don't want to tempt fate, but at the same time, I do enjoy the occasional ban. So one thing that I've noticed about the moderation scene is that you see the same sort of moderators on other people's channels and whatnot. And there's like this progression before you ban somebody. There's usually like, oh, somebody gets a warning, somebody gets like a 10-minute timeout. On my channel, it's like it's a permanent ban, you never come back. So if, for example, Lisa decides to give you a 10-minute ban, she is being a merciful god, because if it was me, I go to 100% really, like right off the bat, real quick, right? As Drake would say. So welcome everybody. Hope you guys are having a good and productive weekend. I've been so swamped with stuff this whole time. Don't want to get into all of it, but been so busy. Like I bought a drone. Finally, I finally broke down, got a drone, and I haven't had an opportunity to even really turn it on. Like it's just been sitting in this bag right over here in this corner, and I probably won't get a chance to do it tomorrow either, or the next day, or the day after that. It's nuts. Okay, so I noticed on the last live show, the LPS live show, that there was like this audible clicking sound occasionally when I switched from one coral to another. And that was kind of annoying. And that's just like a known bug in this particular broadcast software. So I'm trying something new. And unfortunately, that also uncovered a different bug, which I'll get to in a second. I do have to answer Nick Korn real quick. Can I tomorrow pick up anything I buy today? So Nick, you can, but it has to be like really early in the morning, about 9 a.m. Because right afterwards, I have to get out of here, go up to Cleveland and help somebody film. So yeah, so two please. That's right. It was between frames, but it wasn't between every frame. And I guess it's a known bug in Wirecast Pro. So, real quick, watching on YouTube, phone and PC, it's about 20 seconds difference. Yeah, there's going to be some difference between YouTube and Facebook as well. So, yeah, whatever. So, I decided instead of making 50, or in this case 75 separate little videos, and me kind of like being like the DJ and going from one video to the next, I decided, okay, why don't I just time the whole thing out and make a single long video? And I was like, okay, that'll work. But then I noticed that in my broadcasting software, I can't actually control the video at all. There's all these features that give me control and stuff of all these different little parameters of how the video is going to behave. But that's kind of not how any of that works. If I click on anything, it just, the video doesn't even play. So once I start the choral portion of the live show, I'm not 100% sure that it's going to start on choral number 1. So first off, if we start into like number 30 something, that's just where we start. I have no control over it anymore. The other thing is, I can't change like the scrubbing head. So if we want to go back and take a look at something, that's too bad. That's not happening, at least not from my end. You're gonna have to like go back and replay that section of the video. I think you guys can scrub back with your interface, but this broadcasting software totally doesn't work. And it took me a while to also figure out like what you guys are actually seeing, because I have like a preview screen and then a live screen, and the video on those two screens do not match up at all. So I'm like, I don't know what I should be talking about, the preview or the live. So it took me a little bit of time to figure that out. So anyway, we are early. This show for the choral portion will start at 5. So we have about 15 minutes left to hang out. I'll answer a few questions. All this money for software. Yeah, I think I've paid about $1,500 for Wirecast Pro up to like to date. And I mean, these programs are so complex now that there are going to be all these bugs that we just have to kind of sit and waddle through. But it should be a good show regardless. Rudolph Sinden from YouTube. No shipping to South Africa. Maybe one. Yeah. I think that's a recurring theme on these live shows, that it's international shipping is a huge ordeal. And until we basically turn into an international shipping company, which requires a completely different skill set, completely different work process, we're probably going to be US only for a good long time. We're in talks with some people that know about import-export, but nothing is solidified just yet. T Games, you ship to Canada? No, unfortunately. We just ship to the US right now. Gabriel Montero, can I name a fish after you? You can. In my experience, see, I don't name my fish because they die. So yeah, you can name a fish after me, and you can pour one out when I go. Paula Moya, my first Tidal Garden auction. This is on Facebook. Welcome. Hope you enjoy. I wonder who is ahead right now, Facebook or the YouTube stream. I know that there's, I've heard it go both ways. I've heard sometimes that the Facebook stream is faster, or is like maybe like a few seconds ahead. And sometimes it's vice versa. Diacanthus Reef, baby steps. Still got to get those contractors to work. Yeah, you are not kidding. You are not kidding. Nick on YouTube, is there a limit on the number of tickets for the barbecue next year? Only on paper right now. I think right now there's like 150 allocated, but I can always raise that limit. Like realistically, a comfortable number is of people just on this property is going to be less than 200, but then again, I've never really tried. Like usually the biggest gatherings here are less than 100, so we'll see. Johan, do you have any advice on growing coral in greenhouse? I bought a house that came with a greenhouse. It's going to be a lot of trial by error, unfortunately, because greenhouses in different geographies are going to behave really differently. So even just like the difference between me here and a greenhouse in Michigan or a greenhouse in Pennsylvania are going to be wildly different setups. And like me giving you any advice, you could follow it to the letter and it might not work out for you. So unfortunately, you kind of have to work with it until it actually does what you want it to do. And that's never an inexpensive process, because it's one of those things where you can't save money until it works. You just have to keep plugging away at it until it finally works. And the hardest part is that it has to work on the two worst days of the year, when it's like 100 degrees outside and then the power fails, or it's -30 outside in my case and the heating fails. So you have to like prepare for like these two worst case scenarios. What is Facebook? No worries. Don't need to worry about Facebook. It's just some place where you can get all your data stolen. Carl Lowe on Facebook is asking, are you still using AI LEDs? I think we have maybe 3 that are currently in operation right now. Not very many. And as they kind of fail, we replace them with, in the greenhouse, it's mostly T5 fluorescent right now. Eric J, I hate watching your live sales. Makes me want to start a new reef tank. I do enjoy seeing all the different kinds of corals you have. Yeah, and you know what? You can live vicariously through my channel in the meantime, right? Your audio is a bit low. I think I can turn it up slightly. Let's see if I can do something. I mean, so King Young on YouTube is saying that I'm a little low, and on my meters it looks a little low, but I'm afraid of messing with this too much. Like if we do like, is this a little bit better? I turn it up about 10%. We'll see. Okay. Do I ever get a day off? Not really. No. Like today's going to be pretty much an 8-hour day, an 8-hour day. Tomorrow is pretty much going to be an 8-hour day. And I don't really do like my weekends arguably are more busy because that's when everybody else is off, and so they would want to make appointments to come see. So no, not really. So when I go on vacation, that's really when I like totally shut it down. T Games, what camera do you use? Currently, I use a Canon C200 for video and a Canon 5D Mark II for stills. Now it's funny that that you are asking about cameras, because I was talking to Ben the full time. Sounds a tad louder on Facebook than YouTube. Okay, weird. Okay. So he hadn't seen the last live show. He doesn't actually watch a lot of the videos. And so I had him take a look because we were trying something new. And he said everything looks great except you. So what he meant was that the video that was on the last live show was from the webcam that's on my desktop computer. It's pretty good, but the lighting in this particular room is not as good as sitting out in the greenhouse. So I looked kind of very flat in 2D. So yeah, I could kind of see it. I looked like I was kind of like drawn in low resolution. So anyway, one kind of nice thing about going to this new format is I'm able to actually use my cinema camera to point at me. Blue Basin Aquatics, are you ready to sell the C100 to me? LOL. I think I still need a backup cinema camera. So that's the only thing that's holding me back from it. Trust me, I could definitely use the money. I see some comments about what I'm wearing. Thank you very much. I cherish the opportunity to dress up. I have these clothes. I should use them occasionally. To sit at home alone and talk to a camera. Okay, Waterflow78 on YouTube is asking, which calcium reactors would you recommend for the reefing community? Trying to cut cost, but have an awesome setup as well. They're all going to be about the same price point, like realistically. The smallest one is going to be good all the way up until like you're about into like the 300-gallon reef tank sized. So you can save money by just getting the smallest of the calcium reactors. But really, the hidden cost of calcium reactors is you need the regulator, you need the tank, you need all the pumps. So you need one on the reactor itself and also a feed pump of some kind, the media itself, ongoing CO2 costs. But actually, the running costs are not bad. But you can't look at a calcium reactor, the unit cost of one, as the full cost. It's basically double whatever the unit cost is. And that's not even counting if you wanted to get into controllers and whatnot. Carl Lowe on Facebook is asking, what light is working best for you? Right now it's actually T5, but once I get into the new building, I might be going with some LED rather than T5s, just for like heat and humidity and stuff like that. So Reef Dudes, what's up? Welcome. Happy Saturday to you too. Dave Davis. Than, having to start a new 120. 6-bulb T5 adequate for SPS? Yes. Quick answer, yes. Or should I go with 8-bulb even if it's slightly wider than the tank? So yeah, that's the problem with an 8-bulb. An 8-bulb would fit perfectly over it, by the way, because I do have an 8-bulb ATI that I'm technically borrowing from my friend. But it is... Oh, what am I thinking? It barely fits on there. I mean, it's edge to edge, 24 inches, I would say. And it's really not that necessary. Like a 6-bulb is just fine. A 6-bulb is a whole lot, actually. Someone's offering to be a mod. Thank you very much. I might take you up on that one day. I love the idea of splitting up the sales. This is Nick Korn. Because I'm going LPS only, so it's great to know that when those corals will be available. Yeah, I guess that's the biggest knock about doing like a really long live show with like 200 and something corals, is if people are only interested in soft corals, or only interested in SPS, or only interested in LPS, or really only looking for that one piece, right? Having to sit through the entire thing, it's like, okay, I guess we're in the Zoa section, and like 45 minutes, an hour later. At the same time, it's like, hopefully you just enjoy the conversation. That's cool too. But I think that if you're intent on shopping, having a couple more concentrated shows might do good. So speaking of shows, I think we're not gonna do one next week. We need to get some work done here, but hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will be set up really nicely for the Halloween live show, which is on the 27th, I believe, Saturday the 27th. I got my outfit all chosen. I don't think it's going to top last year's, to be perfectly honest, but it could still be kind of cool. What's in your glass today? Nothing. No glass even. I got nothing. Okay. Alrighty. Waterflow 78. Okay, so initial cost isn't an issue with the calcium reactor. It's more of which system seems to be all-in-one calcium reactor. That's a loaded question too. Most calcium reactors are pretty much the same thing. It's just a recirculating reactor that chews up CO2, reduces the pH within that, and drips it out slowly. The only one that I know is like truly turnkey are those ones that are those European things. What are those things called? Destacos, and they're really expensive. Expect to pay like a few $1,000s. Reef Dudes, are you dressing up for Halloween? Yes. Yes, I am. I try to dress up every year. We need some video updates of your new building. I need actual updates on the building. There's not a lot of activity. The only cool thing is that heating and cooling system that we're putting in. That's come along nicely. How's your new building progressing? It's not really. Hopefully this coming week we'll get some more stuff done. Terry, is there going to be any special guests for your Halloween show? Not at this time. There's no plans. Dave Davis, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. Always appreciated. Can always use it. Are you going? Okay, so this is super yellow tank. Then are you going to go natural seawater? Is that even an option in the Midwest? Like, I think that pretty much everybody goes with mixes of some kind. All right, we got like 1 minute left to go, and then we can just get started. Like I said, I don't know if you caught the beginning of this, but once I start this this bit with the corals, not really sure what's gonna happen. So you might hear that one little that clipping sound again. You might not, but once it's gone, I'm gonna just let it go. So hopefully it works, because when I was like testing it earlier, not really sure if I can really control it. I'm just kind of like letting the bull out of its cage. Deacanthus, always looking forward to the Halloween stream. They're the best. Yeah, although this past year's St. Patrick's stream with Matt was incredible. That was probably the best like live show. He's like a once in a lifetime type guest, you know, the guy that can just like tell like the most crazy stories for the entire time. Oh, I know you can get it trucked in for 2,000 gallon trucks. Yeah, no, we're not really considering that. We're just gonna get loads and loads and loads of salt mix. Russ, male artist. It's unfortunate that a person's word ethics integrity have little worth today, but need to muscle legally to show them. Yeah, I'd really hate to get all legal about it. That's the last thing I want to do, but it's always an option. But one of the perks of going to law school is that now your circle of friends includes an army of lawyers. Just gonna throw that out there, even if you never practice, like me. That $5 will help Fan eat more than just those noodles. True story. True story. Somebody follows me on Instagram. All right, guys, let's get going. I'm already a minute late. Okay, fingers crossed. All right, at least it starts on number one, right? At least it starts on number one. Is a magnetic stir for supplements really necessary? Paplo Zirkel. Um, I don't think anybody uses that, to be perfectly honest. I've never even heard of anyone using. I know what they are, but that's no, not so much. Not so much. I mean, I guess like supplements in general, they could use a little bit of a shake, but like constant stirring, I don't really see it. So real quick, I have a question for Lisa's Aquatics. I hear, and actually Reef Dudes, you can answer this as well since you're both Canadians. Um, Compared to the U.S., most Canadians that I've talked to say that we have like a much better selection. But in your neck of the woods, I know that you guys are in two different locations, but oh, you know what? Hold on. What? See, this is stupid. The fact that the audio is messed up. One sec. Let me fix that because I can fix this. Maybe I can. Maybe. Maybe. Any better? Yeah. So That was weird, huh? Like I did mention that there's like these weird bugs, right? Oh, by the way, and I did miss a super chat. Ernie Wallace, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. 2.99. That is like that paid for my ramen noodles last night, which again is awesome. Okay, Canadian online options are kind of very lacking. Yeah. So okay, the fact that the audio changed makes no sense whatsoever, because like the scene change that I did has nothing to do with the layer that's actually doing audio. So whatever, right? So I guess you guys are seeing like number 3, right? Actually, there's probably a delay. So by the time that you hear me say item number 3, it'll probably be like closer to item number 4. Yeah, thanks guys for pointing that out. I always have to like watch out, like, you know, and this is, I guess, was the problem with me doing any kind of scene changes with regard to like the different corals, because you just never can tell like what the heck this software is gonna do. Like I said, I hit the button, I pump my fists, and that's it. Johan M, $5. Thanks for the greenhouse tip. I'll try the balancing act when I start it up. The audio went to mono. Again? No, I'm in stereo. Um, Thanks again. Good luck with your greenhouse. Try to enjoy the ride. It's a lot of experimentation there to make that work. Care tips for Platygyra. Really, it's going to be a lot of middle of the road LPS type stuff. So you're talking about medium flow, medium light. There's nothing too special. You can feed them, which I think will help. They're not terribly aggressive or anything like that. You just have to kind of make sure that they don't touch anything, because they tend to be a little bit more sensitive than other corals. So yeah, definitely like no coral on coral aggression. So you want to give them plenty of space. And you, if anything, I would kind of pay attention to nitrate levels, because I think they are most likely to go downhill in tanks that have like nitrates above 40. I mean, it's kind of like a very general statement, but yeah, I've noticed that if anything is going to be bothered by elevated nutrients and nitrates and phosphates, it's going to be Platygyra. You know, chat is like trucking, so I apologize in advance if I'm missing a lot of stuff in chat. Strangely, the audio improved as soon as you started showing corals. Volume has been fading in and out slightly. That is weird. And welcome, Rico. How's it going? Hopefully you got some rest. I know that like you were just like working your tail off the other day. Rico or Jamie, whoever it is. Coral video looks more compressed this week, 720/60. Yeah, it should be broadcasting at 1080/60. So I'm not really sure if that's true. So actually, real quick, in YouTube or in Facebook, actually, no, in YouTube, let me know what is the max resolution that you're seeing, because it should be 1080p/60. As far as Facebook, the Facebook crowd, I think that Facebook Live caps the resolution at 720/30. So hopefully you guys are able to see 1080. Cool. All right. Thanks, Diacanthus Reef. Kyle Aquaria, CITES is the primary reason why ordering from the US basically doesn't happen. Expensive and a lot of paperwork. I've also heard from one other person that does import export that the US does not have an export quota for CITES, meaning nothing leaves this country. I haven't pursued it directly, but that would also explain why a lot of firms here don't do a lot of export. There's simply no CITES mechanism to do that. I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't looked into it directly, but this person that does do import export did contact them. Do you use an aquarium computer to maintain your system? If yes, which one? So, Paplazirkel, we do monitoring, but we don't actually leave it up to any kind of control system to really perform any function. So, like nothing controls our lighting. We literally turn the light switch on. Nothing controls wave making or anything. We don't even have like wave making period. We just have like laminar flow. So all we do is monitor temperature. We monitor pH, things like that, and we use Apex for that. There's been like a proliferation of controllers, and at the same time, like Neptune Apex has just gobbled up more market share. It's kind of weird. I think that if you kind of like took a straw poll, I would say that most people that use controllers probably use Apexes, even though there's tons of other ones available. No glass, less fun. I'll have a little bit of water in this if that makes you feel better. So if you guys are, I mean, I when I first started the stream, you saw like the general rule breakdown on how a live show works. Long story short, to join in on the purchasing component, you have to go to tidalgardens.com/live. To get a coral, you have to fully check out with it. Just having it in your shopping cart doesn't reserve that coral for you. So you can place multiple orders, that's fine. Just make sure that you select live sale shipping, just so you don't pay shipping every single time. Shipping is a flat rate $39.99, or it's free over $250. And I can't encourage you enough to take advantage of the free shipping, because shipping is absolutely insane right now. US only, and I think that this particular live show we're going to be wrapping up sometime Monday probably. So we usually allow for about like 72 hours. Lately we've been letting it go until about Wednesday just out of pure laziness, but we're going to be getting more on it just to wrap things up so we can get stuff cleared out and set up for the next thing. Where's the co-host cat? She's right here. She's just off screen, but she's sleeping. Harkins Aquatic says he has a Vertex and it's garbage. That's kind of surprising because I've typically been very happy with Vertex's offerings. Guided by Echoes. Love the inclusion of the timer. Thank you. That I think that kind of organizes the stream just a little bit, you know? Because before, when I had to switch it from item to item, I really didn't have a good idea of how long I was even spending on each coral. So I guess in that sense that this will kind of normalize things slightly. It's a pretty cool plugin, I have to say, because the movie editing software I use doesn't come with any kind of built-in timer software or timer plugin overlay. So I found this one, and I was worried that I would have to look at the length of the clip I wanted to time and then punch in that number every single time. So in this case, I would have to do it 75 times. Wasn't really looking forward to doing that. But what's really cool is like this particular timer, you just kind of like drag it to the size of your clip in the editing software, and then it automatically gets the time from that, which is kind of neat. But when I was playing with it, it didn't actually do the animation automatically. So I was like really disappointed. But I figured it out, I guess, right? I figured it out. Bill Hyatt, I'll raise a Corona for you, Than. Oh, thanks, Bill. I'm trying to think of when the last time I had like an adult beverage was. I don't really quite remember. It's been a little while. I will probably be having something for the Halloween live show. That's just too good of a time to not have something, I guess. Greg Jones, when do you move into the new studio? And will you make Rico help you move in? Rico stops over and he makes himself help me sometimes. But I really hope in the next 2 weeks enough gets done construction wise that I can move into the new studio. So right now we're in basically like my study inside my house. And this is not a good place to be doing a live show. It looks okay. It looks okay, but it's not ideal. I mean, there's a state route, literally 50 feet towards you guys, and so like when trucks drive by, it's not so good. I'm close to my two neighbors from this room here, whereas like if I'm 300 feet back, it's like I'm not close to any neighbors. And the problem with neighbors is on weekends they mow their grass, so sometimes that can be a problem. And like right now, my cats are well behaved. But at some point during this live show, this one named Piper is a big fat one, and she is going to start yowling uncontrollably for food. And she's going to be very distracting. So obviously, like, it's not a perfect setup. So I would love to be out in the new building by then. When you said adult beverage, for whatever reason, I imagine you drinking from a fruit pouch in a suit. Yeah. Meredith, please. I was here on St. Patrick's Day. Plenty of adult beverages had then. Yeah, definitely. I was actually thinking about doing some kind of like autumn fall beer tasting special type thing for the Halloween show. Because there's, if you go to the grocery store, it's that season, so there's like a million different like pumpkin flavored things. I was thinking about just picking up a few of those and just doing a little sampler with you guys. You need a small recording studio. I'm putting together a big recording studio. It's just a matter of, so the thing isn't that's stopping me isn't the recording studio. It's pretty close. That's pretty close. The problem is getting internet to the building, which also theoretically should not be that difficult because so much of it is done. It's just that last little bit to get there. Yeah, so Guided by Echoes. I think in the last video update that I did on my building, you do get to see the early stages of the studio. It's a big space. So my house, it's like I'm not exactly sure how big my house is, to be perfectly honest, because it's changed size since I've moved in. But I can tell you for a fact that the new studio that I'm building in the new building is bigger, square footage wise, than my whole house. Nem Nation, wow, those are beautiful blasters. I joined in at the right time. Yeah, so we've gotten a few really interesting Blastomusa merletti. Now we're calling them merletti, but it's not entirely sure on my end if they're merlettis or not. They have like the kind of the bone structure, let's call it, like the skeletal structure, but the size of the polyps is larger than what's expected, and like the coloration, they're a lot nicer now, especially like the Spider-Man one that we have. We also have like a yellow and gold. It's like a red and gold one. That's very cool. Why does my frog spawn not open very much? Noticing Alk is 7, Calc 450, Mag is 1400. It's tough to say. You might want to like take a real close look to see if there's any pest issues. If you wanted to be proactive, you could try something along the lines of an antibacterial dip. Like a lot of iodine-based dips could help euphilia, but I mean sometimes like we run into like some pretty bad infections that can plague these things, and once they kind of go downhill, it's really tough. Now, just not opening, there could be a number of things, I guess, that we typically don't run into. High, like too high light, could cause it, and if you have a fish that could bother it. Oftentimes, people introduce fish into their tanks that they were either told or they read somewhere that they could keep. And sometimes it works out, but a lot of times it doesn't. Like dwarf angels, for example, I would never trust. Um, Things like that. So just kind of like keep an eye out. Because usually, anytime I mention dwarf angels, oftentimes I hear, no, I watch it closely. It's never bothered any coral, but none of my polyps are opening. It's like, yeah, it's definitely that flame angel. Yeah, Joseph Lohman. Yeah, fish poking at the frog spawn could very well be. Could very well be. Than, can brown jelly disease come out of nowhere? That's kind of how that goes. It seems to just come out of nowhere. That's a really typical way to get it. It's like, what the heck? I mean, obviously, like the theoretically, it should be it came on something, therefore it infected a slightly damaged coral, therefore blah blah. But I mean, we sometimes we have like euphilia that's been doing great for like years. It's been doing great in years in other people's aquariums that grew it, and then all of a sudden, just one head, bam, it's dead. Brown jelly, crazy. Yeah, and so like Lisa's Aquatics just mentioned there, if you have that type of issue, your best bet is to frag it into individual heads and separate them and see which ones survive. That orange accent in there looks like the flickering of a flame with the water ripples. Yeah, it could be like fish. It could even be the reflection of people. I think that the electricians were actually here working that day, and I noticed that it picked up on that. So right now, at least on my screen, I think you guys are looking at a neon green Lobo brain. I've been pleasantly surprised by how well the Lobophilia have done here, and I think that the one of the previous corals was like one of like the orange and green Lobos. Really surprised at how well they've done. Like historically, Lobos didn't do well here. A lot of the Australian ones, but these have all really hung in. We've propagated them, and yeah, I can't complain at all. They've also been like really receptive to feeding, which always helps. I'm looking at the video again, and what do you guys think? Because like as far as like the background for these corals, this is currently a little bit backlit by some stuff that's in the background, and also like the kind of the sun coming in from the side. Do you like that, or do you like it against a black background? Does it make it easier to see? I know some people like to see more stuff in frame, so they have an idea of what the coral might look like just compared to other things. Because you know how like sometimes when you see a picture online and like the coral looks amazing, but literally everything else is blue, like stuff that shouldn't be blue is blue. Like black egg crate is blue, the person's hand is blue, like everything's blue, and so you kind of don't have a good reference as to what the coral might look like under daylight. Most of this stuff is kind of shot in daylight. Darker color makes it pop more. Yeah, I could see that. There's certain corals that definitely have more of like a black background, and some that are kind of backlit more. Saint Nova. Hey, Than. Saint here from Jamaica logging on. What's up, man? I've been to Jamaica only once. I liked it very much. You feel you have stopped growing. No new heads or anything. Everything else is growing, even my green Monty cap. Well, it kind of depends on what kind of euphilia you have, because certain ones are very, very slow growing. Others are very fast. So it kind of depends. It wouldn't surprise me if you have a slow growing one. So Dave Davis likes the darker background. Okay, okay. We also got new racks made just recently, and part of the reason why like the black background, I like it a lot too. But what made it a little bit of a challenge was that we had to leave that rack in there with the black background for as long as the live sale went on. Sometimes like shipping is still going on, like even Wednesday. So what happens is we can't see into the tank, into the rest of the tank, and it becomes like a maintenance nightmare. So we had some custom racks made where the black background is removable. Like, I know, genius stuff, right? But we can actually unscrew it and take it out, and leave all the corals in place. Facebook, beautiful and healthy corals. Thank you so much. Glad you like it. Glad you're able to join us as well. I can't read your name because I believe that's Hebrew. I think that's Hebrew. So let me know if I guessed the letters correctly. Is it mandatory to feed euphilia? Not really. You definitely check out, like I did 3 videos, well, at least this year, on euphilia, like one on hammers, one on torches, and one on frog spawn. And on there, I show like our efforts to feed them. They're not the most easy corals to feed, so not so much. As long as you can see the frag plug and see how white or blue it is, gives you an idea. Yeah, that tends to help. In some cases, like I'm looking at item number 25 now, it's pretty much overrun with algae. Now, one thing that even if it is overrun with algae, you can well, it's not overrun. There is algae on it, meaning it's an older plug. It's a more established coral, right? It's not like, oh, it's going to be like, no, it's really not. But one thing is you can always look at like how much saturation is going on, because if it does have some green on the plug, it should not be shockingly neon glowing green, right? So you can look at that type of stuff. Debbie Lane, everything grows so amazingly in my tank except GSP. Funny you mention that. Somebody else was talking to me today about their GSP not growing. What tends to look better, or I'm sorry, what tends to help them grow better is, for me, it's always been increased flow, like a lot of flow. Nem Nation, the video looks better. I say that cautiously, says it's always looked good, but for some reason it seems really clear today. I think it's because I shot this in advance. And so it's a little bit more curated than normal. So it's not like, okay, so technically the coral video behind me, it's not live, but it's basically in like the last day or two. Started dosing some stuff for algae. Now my Xenia is droopy. Could it be the dosing? Todd White? Yes. Long story short, definitely yes. Established plugs are the best plugs? Yes, unless there's something dumb on it, like wafer algae or something, which can happen. Greg Loco, hello from France. Welcome. Welcome, Greg. What macro lens are you using for the coral shots? So Reef Dudes, this is a Canon 100mm macro L. Actually, I think I have it right here. It's this guy. You can hold it up to the camera. See this right here. Autofocus, autofocus, autofocus. Anyway, you get the idea. So The nice thing about this, so there's two different 100 millimeter Canons that are very, very good. Um, if you took a still photo with either one of these, they're going to be indistinguishable. They're going to be both absolutely fantastic, but indistinguishable from each other. The reason why I went with this one, which is like double the price, so the red ring stuff, if you're not familiar with Canon, the red ring is like their best line. This one here has an image stabilizer in it. So for video, it comes in really handy because anytime that you're moving the camera, you're introducing all that motion, and especially on a long focal length like 100 millimeter, it could just look like the most jerking, harsh motion. So anything you can do to stabilize the footage, the better. So that's why I went with the more expensive Canon L. Yeah, it's like the people speculate as what the L means. Like, is it luxury? Is it? We don't know. I think it's all um, just guesses at this point. But it's the red ring. Matt, did I miss a super chat? Matt? Oh, sup fam. Chat is moving quickly, you guys. I am going to be missing stuff. I'm going to be missing stuff. On Facebook, Simon Stone, hello. Hello back. And very nice. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure I can't read your name because I believe that is in Arabic. It's not 22 seconds in favor of Facebook. So I think that one of the settings on YouTube is about the buffering size, and I chose like the highest quality buffer for buffering, and therefore I think it might lose a second here and there compared to another platform. I shoot C300. Should try with a red. Okay, so this is like kind of like um, technical camera talk. I'm really, really reluctant to try shooting with a red. In large part, it's an expensive platform to get into, but the real strength of the platform is an activity that I just do not enjoy, which is color grading and post processing. Like, I want the easiest, most streamlined workflow for editing possible, and the real benefit to going with like a red is to shoot in raw. Like, red code raw is very good. It's very efficient. It has its own quirks to it, but it gives you a lot of control over color, and I don't want to touch it. I just don't want to do that. And like I said, it's a very expensive platform to invest in. So unless I think you're shooting like documentary films or independent film, I mean, actually, this camera, the C200, it shoots in RAW too. I never even bought the memory card capable of recording RAW on this thing because the RAW file sizes I think are easily 10 times the size, and I don't want to edit them. So there we go. How many corals in this sale? There are 75. 75. I'm like totally missing out on like some conversation. I missed the context of something. That's why I'm like all confused looking. Jonathan Mayer, quick question: do you guys ship to South Africa? We do not. Yeah, Tony S. U.S. only. One of like the the, the things that I kind of lament the most about not having the new building up and running, and and just not having the tanks in. They'll be coming like probably first quarter 2019. is just that there's so many corals that we really should be propagating. Like a lot of the corals that you see here, like the LPS, especially LPS, because they take that much longer to grow out. You have to dedicate more space to them. And our tanks are just chock full of corals. And it's weird. It's like they're full of corals, yet we don't always seem to have corals for sale. It's a weird dilemma. Trying to figure out how that's even possible, but it is kind of what it is. I just would love to have the new space up so that we can just, again, propagate the heck out of this stuff and just give it room to grow. Joe Gomez, are you going to do a softie live sale? Yes. However, this coming week, we won't be doing one because I need to get some stuff set up. Hopefully, just getting everything prepared for like the big live show at the end of the month on October 27th. That's the Halloween show. That will have obviously like the full gamut of corals, including softies. But my idea was to have an SPS show, an LPS show, and basically the everything else show, which will include soft corals and zoanthids and other types of polyps. Joel Brown, thanks for the show. I can't hear well enough. Maybe next time more volume. I might be able to try to up the audio one more time. So let's see if this helps, okay? Hopefully. And testing. Does this help? I can't tell because I have obviously. Oh, that probably sounded louder, guys. So okay. So I just need to like make a mental note. At about item number 34, I up the volume. Hopefully you guys can hear just a little bit better. Non-photosynthetic gets no love, partly because it's really hard to keep alive, let alone farm. That's the toughest thing. Do you ship to Spain? Unfortunately, no, we don't. Eddie Blecka on Facebook. Sorry I didn't see your comment earlier. Yes, please go to tidalgardens.com/live, and there's like a link you can click on there that's basically like how the live show works, and you can purchase the items there. So real quick, like PSA as far as any and all purchasing that happens during this show. Typically, we would be shipping everything out Monday for delivery Tuesday. That is very tenuous here as to whether we're going to be able to, because for whatever reason, there was like a ton of orders that came in. And so we have like a limit as to how many corals we can physically pack in an afternoon to get them shipped out. So there's a very good chance that a lot of these orders, the earliest is going to be Tuesday for delivery Wednesday. Just going to throw that out there. I'll mention that again later. Amber Diorio, what are your thoughts on sea fan propagation? Are they fast growers? Some more than others. The photosynthetic ones tend to be better about propagation and just longevity in an aquarium. We have one variety called an amber sea fan that grows incredibly fast. At the end, show shipping rules. I can't do anything. Sorry. Like, I don't know if you heard the initial announcement, but basically, I cannot pause this video and come back to it. So unfortunately, I can just like go over the shipping like verbally, or Lisa can be like super duper helpful and throw in some of those rules again. But shipping is a flat rate, $39.99 US only, free over $250. And no, we do not ship to Antarctica. So the real difficulty in propagating sea fans isn't so much like the photosynthetic versus non-photosynthetic, but gorgonians in general have a real difficulty when it comes to just getting them to attach. They're very good at sloughing off glue. Like initially you put them in glue and seemingly They adhere just fine. Over the course of a week, they will make their way off of whatever you glued. So sometimes what people do is they take a little rock and take a super fine drill bit and drill down into that, fill the whole thing with glue, and then stick that thing in there. Sometimes that works. For us, who we use plugs, so sometimes we have to get that putty, excuse me, that epoxy, that reef set stuff, and we make a little volcano, put the little hole in there, fill that with glue, stick the Gorgonian in there, and again, fingers crossed, it's like 50% chance that it still makes it off of there. But once it grows down over top of that little volcano that we make, I mean, that thing's good to go. They're very tough after that. Do you ship to the dark side of the moon? Exactly. Yeah, that's like the real challenge when it comes to propagating those. It's not even survival. They typically do pretty well. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to is growing a lot more chalices. There's there's such a diversity of chalices out there, and we only really have like a handful. Like I'd say that we have probably like less than 25. But I mean, I'd like to get that number closer to 50. I mean, like the Hollywood centers and stuff like that are cool, but there's just so many that we've never had before. Just like the true rainbows and stuff like that. And part of it was we're always a little bit worried about trying to grow them in a greenhouse as well because it's such a high priced item. But over the years, we've gotten like a lot better at growing the stuff in a greenhouse. So I don't have that type of apprehension anymore, just in time to build a new building. Jonathan Meyer, stunning corals, want them so badly. Makes me want to build a huge flat bed or huge 900-liter tank and just fill it to the max. Big tanks are the way to go. I'm a big proponent of big tanks. Hey Than, where's your Harpoons Dunkin' Donuts coffee porter? That sounds really good. Like I like porters, I like dark beers in general, and I really like coffee. So yeah, I have to give that a try. Tiago Ribeiro, hello from Brazil. Hello. Is it pronounced with an H, like a H sound? Is it Ribeiro? I'm like so bad at when it comes to certain accents and certain pronunciations. What is the max gallons or liters per hour for frog spawn? Max? I don't really know. It's kind of hard to say, except usually if it's blowing so much that's like, oh, looking like it's stripping off the flesh, you don't want to do that. Rico's aquariums. Did somebody say big tanks? You need to have a tank that actually fits in your house, Rico. That's the problem. Yours basically didn't. So the other issue about flow is like the whole chaotic versus linear, like actual wave motions and stuff like that. Um, there's an argument that you should not do waves, and especially in said bigger tanks, um, that wave motion puts a lot more stress on the seams of the tank, and worst case scenario, your tank breaks early. It might be better for the animal, but a tank breaking is never that great for the animal. So I think somebody had asked earlier, like what we're doing for lighting for this show. So the corals are lit by a combination of, I guess, four different light sources. So there's two different types of T5 bulbs that we're using. We're using Coral Plus and we're using Blue Plus. That gives that general kind of pinkish bluish hue to everything. Then you're getting kind of like this ambient light from the greenhouse itself, which is that 6500K. So that's why a lot of our corals tend to look more daylight rather than like true deep actinic that you might see on many other places. Even like you can just see like in the fish going around, it's like they're not the solid blue craziness. It's a lot of it's very daylight representative. But then we have a little LED spotlight that's shining on the coral. And that's just to give it a little bit of punch so you can see the fluorescence that's going on in the coral. So our little combination of lighting effects might be hard to duplicate in a home aquarium, but at least it gives you an idea of what the corals look like. How much would you charge per polyp with red hornets? Picked one up with 9 polyps for $30. It's a really good deal. I don't even remember when it comes to pricing for red hornets. We're trying to grow ours out. Two, please. Thank you so much, man. $1.99. Thumbs up, people. You know, I haven't been paying attention to the thumbs upage. What are we looking at here? View on watch page. 58. Yes, we can do better, guys. So I don't try to sell like the thumbs up. Oh wait. What's that? Volume. What? I know. Like for example, like Rico does the hard sell on the thumbs up. That's funny. Anyway. I'm like. So because I'm broadcasting to two different platforms, I have a different display now for what YouTube looks like. And I don't know where I'm looking for certain things that I'm interested in. Like I'm always interested in one particular number, and I have no clue where it is now in this display. Oh well, I'll live. Dab on those heaters. I'm gonna assume that's a pun. I'm gonna give you credit for a pun there, Mandrake Fernflower. David, what's up, Dan? It's been a long time since seeing a live stream. You must be kidding. Actually, if anything, I'm disappointed that I've been so busy that I haven't put out a regular, like, polished, edited video. I've got like 3 that are kind of percolating up in various stages of completeness, various stages of concept. And one of them is actually somewhat close to getting published, but I was not able to publish it before this live show, which to me is a bummer because I don't want to become a channel that's just like all live show all the time. I mean, if you guys enjoy the live shows, great. I'm glad you like them, but I would like the live show component to be kind of sprinkled in, not so much the whole program. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like made a little mental rule that I wanted to have like at least one video, like an edited nice video between live shows. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get one out. And also, I've upped the number of live shows that I do just to kind of incorporate some of these, I guess, the smaller subset type corals for their own shows. And like the added frequency of live shows and plus my busy schedule, it's like I just didn't get one done. So you're seeing like back to back to back live shows now. David's like, love the live streams. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Than, what's your number one canary in a coal mine coral? So it kind of depends on what I'm kind of mining for, right? So for an SPS tank, the thing that I'm most worried about, there's two pests. One is an acropora eating flatworm, and so for that, I really like an acropora that goes by the trade name of what is like a purple bonsai. Those typically are like a magnet for flatworms before it affects other corals. The other one is a Montipora eating nudibranch, and the Montipora of choice definitely is Montipora spongotes, the green and brown colored guys. They gravitate to those things first. So as long as I have got like those two things in there, I can keep a closer eye to see if they have any kind of pest issues. Let's see, Eric V. Why are the corals cheaper there than here in the Netherlands? It must be like supply and demand, but you guys do have one of the biggest wholesalers in Europe right there next to you. So I'm not entirely sure. Darren Sung, why are snake polyps kind of difficult to come by? We occasionally do sell them. Typically they're not that common because they're usually just hitchhikers on other corals. They don't usually just get imported by themselves. Steen and Andreessen. Looks like I made it home from work at the perfect time. Welcome. Yeah, so we're on item number 50. There's 25 more to go. What I might do is once we get through all 75, I might stay on just a little bit of overtime if we want to hang out just a little bit before dinner time. And if anybody had missed like the first few that we've gone over, because I think that the total time allotted for all 75 corals was like an hour and 15 minutes roughly. So that's not too bad if I wanted to just double up and we can just look at all of them again. Thriller 2022. Can I schedule delivery for later in the week? Yes, you can. Look, once you're done shopping, just fire us an email and just let us know what your order numbers were and what day you'd like to have it all sent. And yes, thanks Lisa and thanks Tony S. Yeah, exactly. Got your answer. You guys are faster than me. The only time I saw snake polyps locally, they're filled with bubble algae, so I passed. Snake polyps are not that popular. And what's funny is Ben, he loves them here. He loves snake polyps. And I'm like, those are ugly. Nobody is going to want those things. Give up. But no, he's a huge fan of snake polyps. So if he sees this live sale, he'll be happy. He'll be happy just because it's like that is like his little his little pet coral, I guess, if there is such a thing on the propagation side. So real quick, Cesar Marquez and Jeff Langlanese on Facebook. Welcome, you guys. Andy Gain as well. Want to thank you for the information you posted on your site. Very helpful. You're welcome, Andy. I appreciate you guys following along. Dan, what's your pet coral? I really don't know. What would it be? It's always gonna change, right? I'm always gonna have to pick different ones at different times. At one time, I really liked elegances. That was kind of early in my hobby experience. After that, I went to Blastomusa for a while. I like, so obviously I think because of the business side of things. I like the stuff that I can propagate more. So the sort of things that really interest me are now kind of getting into more SPS type stuff. Daniel Mathis, my wife says your voice is so soothing. It's like, yeah, I should do, what's that called? ASMR. Be like, this is a Canon lens. Now you have to do it up close to the mic. This is a Canon lens. Oh, I can't even do that. Yeah, we're not turning this into an ASMR stream. We're not doing it. Harkins Aquatics. Don't be a flavor of the month. I'll try not to. Josh Bailey, you seem to really dig the purple bonsai. Yeah, I do. I don't think it's even in my top 10 as far as like acros I like, but it's been like a, I don't know, it's been like a staple SPS for so long, a staple like iconic acro for so long. So Rico's excited about me doing more with SPS. Yeah, I put everybody to sleep. You know what? I should like listen to my. You know what's funny is that people always say that like I have like a really soothing voice, and then they can listen to me at night, and I'll put them to sleep if they're having like insomnia or whatever. When I listen to myself back on recordings, I get like hypertension. It's like all the little vocal tics and stuff that that I have just bother the heck out of me. So I can't listen to myself. That just wakes me right back up. It makes me just cringe a little. So you know what I need to do as far as like video topics? I need to talk more about like ACANs because I think all of my videos on ACANs are pretty much out of date. So it's been at least a year since Acanthasteria Lord Howensis is no longer an ACAN at all. It got bumped over into Micromusa. So theoretically, I should be doing both a new Micromusa video as well as a new Acanthasteria video, because right now in the industry, as far as like what we sell, there's really only ACAN Echinatas and ACAN Bowerbankies because Lords were booted. But yeah, so but now Micromusa then I guess becomes more interesting because now you have Micromusa Lord Howensis and you have Micromusa Amacucensis. So once I actually have some really nice colonies of those to shoot, I'll get going back on that. We haven't had like big, nice colonies to shoot. I have like older footage, but none of that is shot by this camera, which does like the 4K 60 deliciousness. So I don't want to like go back into the well of 2-year-old footage to talk about that stuff. So yeah, long story short, I need to get more room and buy some big colonies for filming. So this is really funny. So I tend to not want to go shopping for corals. Like my mom loves to go shopping for corals. I tend to like to stay home. But when I have a video topic that I want, then I get really interested because I need to go hunt down those corals that that I need for my shots. And they might not even be like a good idea business wise to do, but if I can get a video out of it, I'll take that risk. So one of the beneficiaries of that was that Lobophilia video I did. Usually I don't even buy Lobos, but I wanted to do a video of Lobos, and so we bought a whole bunch of them. And you know what? To my surprise, they did well. And I say this every stream, but there's a reason why everybody that does live streams loves Lisa. It's because she works so hard moderating constantly, constantly, getting everybody on the right page as far as like the announcements, getting everybody on the right page as far as like Patreon, the thumbs up, all that stuff. So thanks again, Lisa. Your contribution is not taken for granted at all. I missed something again. Something my voice. Is it safe to say you don't sing? I'm like extra tone deaf. Alan Jarrett on Facebook. Um, how do I bid on this stuff? So go right now to www.tidalgardens.com/live. I'm going to throw that in a reply for you right here. Okay, go there. And on there, you'll see like kind of a link on how this whole thing works. You're not really bidding so much as it's basically just these are items slightly discounted that you get to see in real time. And if you have any questions, you can ask us. Dan sings after. No, I never sing. Like even in my absolute drunkest, I don't sing. Dave Davis, Dan, you've probably covered this, but what is your quarantine process? We don't really have one. It's not good. Um, but I will cover quarantine, especially as it relates to the new building, because I think we're going to be pretty stringent as it goes there. Problem is, this is a commercial facility. There's a lot of staff here, some staff, including my family. And it's not guaranteed that procedures are going to be followed to a T. So, in the long story, in the grand scheme of things, it might not make any difference. Like, something just might skip quarantine altogether. But ideally, we would have everything quarantined for at least a month. Man, Than, you got to do something for us Canadians. I'm actually working on it. I was contacted by somebody that does quite a bit of import export into Canada, and she does work with CITES. And so I'm going to meet with her and see what we can do. Um, it may or may not work just because of the cost and volume that might be necessary to make it make sense. Because a big part of it is just getting through customs and stuff like that. So it's a real long shot, but at least there's something happening on that front. Do you do dips or natural methods? I do both. So we do dip stuff. Dips are only so good. I mean, I've seen every single pest imaginable, I think, and everything in here gets dipped. So there's only so much that it can do. Having said that, it's always a good idea to dip because if the dip prevents one outbreak of something, the whole process is worth it. And we do the natural methods, and by natural methods, you can pretty much see every now and again the coral gets photobombed by either a foxface or a copper band or a wrasse or a damsel. Pretty much we try to go with as many Yeah, you just probably saw Melanaris wrasse hovering in the background of number 63 there. The constant like predator pressure on pests is so good. So if I had to choose like an all-star lineup of animals to kind of like help control things, it'd be that Melanaris wrasse right there. It would be probably a leopard wrasse, probably a possum wrasse, maybe even a six line. Um, I would consider a Pseudochromis friedmani. They're pretty good at eating like small baby bristleworms and stuff like that. If you wanted to keep that under control, I tend to like bristleworms, but others here don't. I would probably. I'm souring a little bit on fox faces lately. Our fox faces have turned into total jerks and started eating micromusa and all kinds of other stuff. So they're starting to get like all kinds of munchy. Now, instead of fox faces, I think the leading candidate would be a nasotang for us. Obviously, copper bands are in, and probably a few different types of damsels. Damsels have a bad rap because they're jerks, and they are jerks. They totally are jerks, but they're also really good at like taking down stuff like flatworms and stuff. Certain and as we're talking about Melanaris wrasses, yeah, one just totally photobombs number 65. There you go. Dips better used on SPS, not LPS. I don't know if that's true or not. There's certain things that come on SPS that do not care about dips. Dan, here's a question. I just cycled my Reefer 450. Got 3 wrasses, 3 chromas, 2 pajama cardinals, a pair of platinum clowns, and a 2-inch tang. Yeah, I'm not. I usually don't like tangs. That's just me though. I mean, tangs are like probably the most popular fish out there. But yeah, yellow tangs tend to be jerks. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've never gotten a bad coral from you. Well, I appreciate that, Dave, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility for someone to get one from us. So, you know, if in a perfect world, you dip it, you put it into quarantine, and you'd have positive predator pressure at all times, and that will help more than anything really. I have a purple and a Desjardins in another tank. So those are basically 3 different Zebrasoma tanks: a yellow, a purple, and a Desjardins. Is it? Ugh, I don't love that. Yeah, I mean, people have made it work, but they're gonna fight a lot, and they're really good at it sometimes. Daniel Mathis, do you send parameters of the tanks when you ship the corals? No, not really. Believe it or not, Daniel, we don't do a ton of testing, so it's going to be not that helpful. So, I mean, a lot of our tanks are going to shoot for roughly natural seawater levels. Tank temperatures could be anything. Like right now, we're seeing like 8-degree per day fluctuations in temperature. That's not going to help you. Nah. It would make more sense. Like, imagine our systems as being like the harshest environment possible for corals. So to make it out of our tanks, they're pretty tough. They've seen a lot of fluctuation in both chemistry and temperature. The only tangs, Diacanthus reef, the only tangs that I really like so far, and I mean really really like, are 2 that probably shouldn't be in the hobby at all: nasotangs and flamingis. We got a flamingi tang as like a rescue, and um, I never think that people should have that tang, right? They grow giant. They need a lot of swimming space. We have it in a 220 right now, and I just want it to survive long enough for it to get into one of our 10-foot tanks in the new building. But that thing has the most incredible personality and is hilarious. Like, we feed it just huge strands of macroalgae and he eats it like spaghetti. I mean, like the thing could literally be like a 4 foot long piece of algae of Caulerpa, and it just goes and just and then you just see like the thing shorten into his mouth. Rico's Aquariums. Than, what color T-shirt for Ben? I'm gonna go for black, and that is purely that's purely selfish on my part. Because when he shoots corals for the website, it's better if he wears a black shirt so that he acts as a black background for the camera. So Rico's. So okay, this is okay. I have to tell this story. We just happened to watch the Patreon thing on Rico's channel. So he did like a Patreon giveaway for merch on his thing, and it was Jamie. That was like, it was like a reverse wheel raffle thing, right? So we didn't get that at first. So we saw like, you know, this wheel spin, it lands on somebody, that person is gone, and then the pie sizes for the people get bigger and bigger as like people get excluded. But Ben thought that all those people were winning, and so we saw our, like, the Tidal Gardens name was still on there, and he's like, is everybody winning except us? And it was like finally like down to like the last two. Then it occurred to me that, oh, this is a reverse thing, and now it's like a 50-50 toss up between us and this last guy. And then it goes and spins and it lands on the last guy. And we're like, darn it, we lost. But no, again, that guy goes, we win. So it went from like, so we never understood what the heck was going on apparently until the moment that we won. And the minute that we won, it's like, it's fixed, you know? And so everybody in the comments is like, fixed. So yeah, so Ben won a t-shirt. Luke Schnabel on Facebook. Hey, you're on late. Actually, I'm not on late. I started late. I started at 5. And actually, we're getting close to our first run through of this whole list. It's item number 71. We're going to 75. Oscar Renteria. When are you guys doing SPS? We did it last week. So the next live show we're going to do is on the 27th. That's going to be the full-size live show with a little bit of everything. And then after that, we might start back in on SPS again. Yeah, the process of elimination wheel. Yeah, that's the one. Gabriel Montero. It was rigged. Yeah, that wheel, man. Jamie's got all the hacks. She knows she needs to take care of Tidal Gardens. Because we don't. Okay, I was gonna say we don't have a t-shirt budget, as a joke, but it's true, we don't have a t-shirt budget. There's like Ben. If you see Ben, A, if you ever see Ben, but B, if you ever see Ben wearing a Tidal Gardens t-shirt, I kid you not, it's 10 years old. We don't. You know how like everybody wears Worldwide Coral shirts because they're like everywhere. You won't find a Tidal Gardens shirt. Like, we just don't make those things. So you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a t-shirt design contest, and we'll give out like prizes to the top 3 that win. So we will pick our favorites. We'll probably put a poll up and let people vote on their favorite designs. And once we figure all that out, we'll start printing some of like the most popular designs. And actually, no, we're not going to print anything. We're probably going to have it done through Teespring. So it'll just be like that print on demand thing through YouTube. We'll try that. Make a real wheel. Yeah, like no digital wheels, no cheateration wheels. Are you doing a softy coral show? Yes. Normally, I would say that we would do it this next week, but we're not having a show next week. So on Facebook, Honey Glazed White Ham says, I've got a yellow-eyed coal, purple, clown, and just added a juvenile regal, and nobody bothers the other. So that's surprising just because of the clown tang. But if you notice, yellow-eyed coal is a stenochatus, if that's how that's pronounced, I think. Probably not. Purple is a zebrasoma, a clown is an acantharus, and a blue regal is a hippo. Those are four completely separate genera of tangs. And so you have a much better chance if they're of different genuses, genera. Now, I think, I forget who was talking about it, but he wanted to add 3 zebrasomas, and that's when you're more likely to get it, like that serious aggression stuff. Is 73 also called a donut coral? Yeah, I think scolies are sometimes called donut corals. These Crocodile Island scolies, we just sold like a really nice what you see is what you get one, which is about like 4 times bigger than these. These guys are only like 1 inch. They're super cool though. Number 75 here that's coming up, this is the one I really like. It's got like this really wicked cool pattern. Now, I've seen some that are like bright yellow and with like a yellow pattern, and those are awesome. They are shockingly expensive though. So I would expect to pay well over $1,500 if you see a yellow one. They're very cool though. Yeah, the Crocodile Island scolies, they're a little different than the typical Australian scolie. They are Australian. Like Crocodile Island is in like the northern islands off the coast of Australia, which is quite far from the Great Barrier Reef. How do you manage evaporation in the greenhouse? The greenhouse is basically an open structure. So when like the exhaust fans kick on and everything, the whole thing just becomes a wind tunnel and sucks right out. You guys in America have hyped up the crocodile scolies that much. They've doubled in price in the last few months. We used to have it good. You used to have it good in the sense that you had crocodile scolies. Believe it or not, this past couple weeks is the first time I ever even heard of them. It's crazy. It's like, what are those? What's that yellow one? How much is that? It's like, oh, that's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, that's like my whole budget. No, we're not doing that. And what's funny is, he's like, it's not for sale anyways. Yeah, so like, even at an insane price, wasn't for sale. It's like, had it been for sale, it would have been really expensive. Almost $1,000 wholesale or something. It was a lot. A whole lot. One day, guys, if I see it, I'll spring for it just so I can show you guys, right? I'll just so I can get it on video. That's like the easiest way to justify making like a dumb purchase. It's like I can do a video on it. Nasty Nemo, I have a rainbow croc scolie. Cool. Yeah, there's some awesome ones out there. Nick Korn, how should I contact you to pick up these corals I purchased tomorrow? If that's still an option. If not, no worries, I'll purchase shipping. So Nick, okay, just let me know in chat right now, okay? Can you make it here by 9 a.m.? Even a little earlier is fine, but it has to be early because I have another appointment also coming at 9 a.m. And as soon as that's done with, I have to go to Cleveland. So I can do it, but it has to be early. So the Nick, just let me know, okay? So Amber Diori, are you going over old items? Okay, so the thing reset, okay? So I think you guys are seeing item number 3 now. Yes. So I think we just restarted. So I'll hang out for a little bit longer. But 75 was the last item. Yeah, it must have been when I first saw them. It was like, hey, cute little fluffy scully. Same red one was $40. Didn't buy. Yeah, they're not going to be like that ever again. I can guarantee you that. Okay, Nick, absolutely I can. Okay, I will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m., give or take. Dwayne Ward on Facebook. What's up, man? Hey, what's up? What's up, Ward? Glad you could make it, man. And hi, Kristen. I see you on Facebook. You haven't typed anything, but glad you can be here. Piper sitting here. She's been extremely well behaved for this entire like hour and a half. It's amazing. Usually at about this hour, she'd be just like yowling for food. So I should like count my blessings. And it's no, I'm not starving my cat. She's like 20 pounds. She's not that hungry. She's just fat. Kristen's one of my actual like real life Facebook friends, and all we talk about is cats. Okay, does the purchased ones get removed from the feed after they've been purchased? No. So this is just a video. It's just going to play in the background. Many of these might be sold already. They're removed from the site. So if you see like item number 5 and you want it, and item number 5 just isn't on the website, somebody got it the first run through. I haven't like checked the website. I don't want to jinx it. So I'm not superstitious, but I don't look at my email until like tomorrow. So again, apologize, but I'm not going to get to email tonight. Probably not. I'll try to get all the communication stuff done tomorrow, and it might be tomorrow afternoon. Excuse me, please refer to as co-host Piper. You know what? So somebody was asking if I would sell them my C100. So I'm using the C200 for this camera here. But what I was actually thinking of was, you know what? I have another camera. I have another capture card. I might just make like a kitty camera and just have her like green screened in so you could just see her antics. Okay, Nopey117 on YouTube. Will different Favias sting each other? Heck yeah, they will. You want to talk cats? Yeah. There's not a whole lot to talk about. You know what's really funny? Is my taste in cats has completely changed since I've gotten these cats. So originally, I wanted like a full-on panther. I mean, I wanted some giant, super athletic, 30-pound, borderline illegal, half domestic, half wildcat sort of thing. You know, like a savanna, or even like a full-on serval if it didn't pee on everything, right? Or an ocelot if it didn't pee on everything. But you can't have this because they pee on everything. Now, understanding now, like how I guess destruction capable a cat is, I want nothing to do with a 40-pound half wild cat. That's like, it sounds terrible of an idea now, because when Piper wants to mess you up, you're gonna get messed up. And she's a big cat, and she's mean. I can only imagine what like a 30-pound savannah could do. And then these people that buy like, oh, you know, so and so for their sweet 16 wants like a white tiger. It's like, yeah, they're real cute when they're cubs, and in 3 months it turns into a tiger. And then once like a tiger handles you, you're tiger handled, you know. So anyway, so now my taste in cats has gone to like the ridiculous, cute, useless cats, like the ones with little stubby legs. What are those things called? Um, I don't know, but their legs are like this big. Munchkin cats. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. Gonna answer a couple questions here. Rolando Trujillo, are chalice corals easy? I would say that they're on the upper end of challenging LPS. So not super challenging, but more challenging than your typical LPS. A little bit more sensitive to water chemistry, things like that. A little bit more with aggression issues. Diacanthus reef. That's pretty much the biggest cat I'll allow around me. Big cats freak me out. He's talking about the Maine Coon. Yeah, Maine Coons are big, big, big pirate cat. Dan, I had a Bengal. That'll do for it. Bengals are cool. I would like a Bengal. I ended up just getting um, some shelter cats. I was actually like on the wait list for some like purebred Siamese, and I'm like, what am I doing? There's like a ton of cats that actually need homes, so I went and got a couple shelter ones. Miyagi, hello, stopping by for a bit. Cool, glad you could make it. So for the folks that are new, we are going. So we've already gone through 1 through 75 already on the LPS live show, and so we're just kind of like hanging out, just taking additional comments and questions, having some conversations, and we're just running through the items again. I might not make it through all 75 again, but if you wanted to scrub back through, you can see all the different items if you were really curious. Ooh, Nate Hurl with the Norwegian forest cats. Yeah, I've seen pictures of those. Yeah, they're very striking. Big, too. Will grape coral and torches sting each other? This is Darren Sung. They do sting each other, but they might not be fatal. Sometimes people like do euphilia together. It's not perfectly ideal, but it can be done. Matthew G, can pink lemonade chalice be okay in moderate light? Yeah, I would say so. Anything right around 100 par, that'll do. Debbie Lane, am I the only one that has your voice go in and out? In chat, guys. Okay, thank you, JReg, CG60. Thanks for letting me know. Audio is perfect, Lisa says. Thanks. Okay, it's good on my phone, but not TV, YouTube. I don't know what to tell you there. It's always curious, like what people are seeing on their end when it comes to this sort of thing. Yeah, and yeah, like when it comes like technical issues, who knows? Who knows? Haven't heard any issues. Guided by Echoes. Thanks, man. Thanks for letting me know. Audio's good. Cool. 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 So I'm actually also glad, this is going back to the whole cat thing. I'm also glad that I don't have Siamese because they are so naturally chatty. They just like meow so much. I think it'd drive me nuts. So one of my cats here, so Piper here, the big fat one, she will, when she's hungry, she'll just like stand about 10 feet away from me and just meow. The other one is like silent. Even when she's like fighting and stuff like that, she's silent. But what she'll do is like she'll just like start stomping all over you with these little pointy feet. That usually wakes me right up. My ragdoll just excels at being fat. Well, you know the reason. Okay, I'm going to blame the cat, but you've heard this thing, or at least I've heard this thing, right? Where cats will, the way that they meow, they don't really meow at each other and stuff. They meow for the benefit of their owner, and so like they kind of tailor make their meow to kind of get what they want from you. And so Piper here meows in such a way that she basically mind controls everybody in this house, and they give her food. Not as much food as I give her, because since I'm around more and I get mind controlled, I feed her more. So, yeah. Okay, Matthew G. Will clove polyp sting other coral? Like a discosoma mushroom? That's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure how to read that. So, do clove polyps sting? Not very much. They don't really have exactly a potent sting worth talking about. Will they sting a discosoma? Probably not. I'd be more worried about the discosoma smothering it. Discosomas can fight. Like, you don't wouldn't really get that. But if you put a Discosoma against like an SPS or an LPS, it's probably gonna win. Two, please. I have a mix from an F12 purebred. Wow. They're cool looking. I absolutely love how they look, but they are some chatty kitty cats. So Lisa, do you actually have some stuff on your channel now? I was not subscribed either. But wait, okay. In fairness, I should also preface that because like I'm sure like Rico and um, all these other folks that were on are gonna be like, yeah, you're not subscribed to me either. Yeah, I'm not. I'm actually not subscribed to any coral reef related YouTuber. I don't think. Actually, I might be subscribed to. You know what? Who cares? Like, subscriptions, like YouTube has done a very good job of minimizing the effect of subscribers. It's like it kind of stinks. So if you want like updates and stuff, definitely be subscribed and definitely hit that notification bell because it's not 100% as to like what you're going to be getting notified for. So if you like these live shows and stuff like that, I think you really have to be up on, like getting notified and then actually participating because it's like if you don't even watch it very often, even the notifications go away. It's crazy. Yeah, don't angry face me, Rico. I think I am subscribed to you. So I am arm Rico the Aquarium arm wrestle fan. He'll throw his back out arm wrestling me. Like Rico talks all tough, but Rico, you need to take care of your back. You need to take care of your body a little bit. You can't be getting into arm wrestling matches with people. It's like we're at that age now where it's like, all that stuff that we used to do when we were younger, all that needs to stop immediately. I just want to see the footage of Than moving a 500-gallon glass tank. No, you don't. I don't like. Nobody needs to be seeing that, or even like. I shouldn't have even have been doing that. That was like all self-preservation at that point. Yeah, I was just thinking like, oh no, it's. I was gonna go off on this wild tangent. It is way off base, so no. Oh man, I am curious now. Uh-oh, the kitty cat's waking up. She's gonna be like letting me know that it's dinner time for sure. So once this new building is up, I'm really getting like obviously I'm looking forward to getting the new grow out tanks in. Um, to get like a lot of this stuff spaced out better and we can then focus in on getting some like really high-end species and stuff like that to start propagating. But believe it or not, this is the first time in like 20 something years that I would even have had a show tank of any kind. So I'm really interested to see if just given like a little bit of time and thought what I could do with these tanks because I've never had a tank this large. Like they're every bit of 700 gallons a piece, and there's two of them. So actually, get this, guys. A lot of YouTube is trending in this direction, but it's kind of like people want to see kind of like concept aquariums, and we don't have any show tanks to even do this with, right? Until we start to do that in the new building. But what I was thinking about doing was, in addition to these two show tanks that we can kind of like follow their progress along, one of them is going to be a mixed reef. One of them is going to be an SPS dominated reef. So we can follow those two along. But what I was thinking is, we do have room around like the perimeter of the building for other aquariums. And what I was thinking was to set up a few like concept type aquariums against the walls, because I've allocated about 2 feet of space roughly for workspace, but we don't need like, I don't know, like 18,000 feet of workspace. We can use like some of it for actual aquariums. So my point is, if I went and got 6 aquariums for against the wall that could be like theme tanks, I mean, I could literally do an update on show tank 1, show tank 2, and then 6 individual tanks. And if I just did one of those a week, you would literally not see a repeat of an update for 2 months. So it would be like 4 weeks, another 4 weeks, because it's 8 total tanks, and then it'll repeat. So you would actually see a lot of progress after 2 months in all of these systems, which would be kind of neat. And so like you basically be getting like a weekly update video on one of those tanks. So that's kind of like some fun, easy to schedule content that might be interesting to see. Rico's the business card. Yeah. Still think about a big old mangrove on display. I think I am. I'd have to kind of plan it out a little bit, but I think that the mixed reef could incorporate that mangrove that we were talking about. Okay, so real quick, Thomas Osaski, are the blasters treated with the same light spectrum? So the lighting that you're seeing everything under, it's going to be kind of difficult to replicate. It's very much for show in this particular broadcast. But as far as fluorescence goes, it is a combination of Coral Plus, ATI Coral Plus T5, ATI Blue Plus T5, a little bit of ambient light from the greenhouse itself, from the sun, and then we have like an LED spotlight, kind of like a little blue actinic flashlight looking thing that just kind of gives it some fill and also brings out a little bit of fluorescence in it. So largely you're seeing about a 10K-ish light that's kind of very rich, because Coral Plus and Blue Plus have a very rich color, but then you're also mixing that with daylight and just then hitting it with like a touch of actinic. So there's kind of like this lighting recipe to get corals to look like this. But the reason why I like it is you do see some of the fluorescence, but you also see a lot of the daylight characteristics also. Yeah, Regal Angels. Yeah, they might mess with Alveopora quite a lot. Oh, someone on Facebook, Sean McKinney, said you should get a Havana Brown kitty. You know, if it was up to me, I would have an absurd number of cats. Shoot, especially with the new building, I mean, it's like 9,000 square feet. Like how many cats can I fit in there, right? But it's probably not a good idea. Like this cat here, Piper, she chews on cords. So that's also one of the nice things about having an entire studio set up over there. Like I can actually protect my gear from my cat. So what do you guys think of this timer? I mean, I kind of like it because it kind of gives you an idea of when we'll be moving off of a particular coral. And I like how it keeps pace on the show itself, you know. Um, Before, I think that I might have like gone super long on a couple corals while I'm telling a story, and then I blow past like three of them super fast. So I think this whole thing keeps it a lot more consistent. Um, it's a nice visual too, you know. Good. Thank you guys. I'm glad you guys like the timer. There's a few other things that I was thinking about incorporating in, but again, all of this stuff just takes up so much room. I was also, so you notice how like the camera, it pans one way, it does like a slide one way, and then it slides back the other direction. Yeah, Ben keeps the pace pretty well. Yeah, he does a pretty good job of that. That is true. Um, what's nice though is that like we don't have to do the communication back and forth, so I don't like miss a label or anything like that. I can just like kind of just focus on talking. Um, but okay, but going back to that whole slide thing, what I was actually planning on doing was doing a slide one way, showing like a 10K light, and then coming back the other way to show more of an actinic light. The problem was it was really hard to capture the actinic. And not that it looks like blobby and gross, like when you shoot with like a cell phone, you know, like when you shoot like a cell phone photo of like a super actinic looking tank, it just looks like trash. It didn't look like trash, but what it would do was it would just drown out the color. So you would just see a more blue looking coral. And it's like the 10K, which is basically what you're seeing now, right? The more daylight looking the video was so objectively better looking that seeing just like the all blue version of it did nothing. It just looked gross. So that's why like going one direction and then coming back, it's all just the same color temperature, because the other color temperature just it objectively just didn't look good at all. So anyway, there's always like little tweaks that I'm trying to incorporate to make the show better, but some things just don't work out. Oh, I thought it was Ben spinning while holding the camera. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it would be cool if I could actually capture a meaningful difference in color temperature and also have both of them look really good. That's still a challenge for me right now, I guess. What are we at as far as likes? Uh-oh, other kitties here. Penny. Oh, are you gonna come on? Are you gonna block my camera? She's totally gonna hit my camera, isn't she? Nope. Anyway. Okay, I was hoping to be able to go through the entire list again, but I think I have to go get dinner, you guys. So if you missed it, if you missed any of the corals just from coming in late now, you can go ahead and scrub back through all the different corals up to this point. So yeah, you get caught up. Real quick, if you're completely new to how this live show works, 11 away, guys. So quickly, let's get to 100 thumbs up. Let's hit the century mark, and then we can all enjoy the rest of our evenings. Alone. What are we at right now? As far as likes, 91. We can do it. Come on, guys. 91. How much? You know what? I bet there's been like over 1,000 something people that have watched this live stream. We can do 100. We can do 100 thumbs up, or thumbs it down. I don't even care. But you have to vote. You got to vote. So, obviously, thank you guys so much for attending. Thank you to the moderation crew. Would not be the same. Didn't have to ban anybody. After all that talk in the beginning about banning people, nobody got banned. So good job on behaving. Thank you guys to the super chats. So Dave Davis with $5, Ernie Walls with $2.99, Johan M $5, Two Please $1.99. Thank you guys. Every little bit helps. I mean, that's not just lip service. Like, trust me. Everybody's got bills, and I can promise you, I'm willing to spend the money to make a better show for you guys. I will absolutely put my money where my mouth is. Hey, I got a drone, and I just have been too busy to actually fly the darn thing. But aerial footage will be available at some point until the day I crash that thing, which hopefully will not be instantly. All right, guys. Did we hit 100? Yes, we did. 105. Thanks. We made it. We made it. All right. Again, thank you all for attending. Hope to see you all next time. Next time will be the 27th for the big for the big Halloween show. It's gonna be so. Hey, you know what? You can dress up. We can have some random pumpkin spice ale or whatever, whatever it is people drink these days. Yeah. All right. Time for dinner. Let's get out of here.